was always in survival mode.
Loved ones say these girls were failed.
I just want to go home.
3 teens, 3 tragedies.
Why us? Why my baby girl?
All of them linked to the Department of Child Safety.
It is not surprising to me that so many kids in DCS care are at risk for exploitation.
The crisis is not new in Arizona.
When they say runaway, the response isn't heightened like the way missing is.
What will it take to make lasting change to keep kids safe?
It's like the system breaks you down.
Fox 10 investigates runaway teens missing in the system. Thank you for joining us. I'm Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum. In 2014, Arizona's child welfare system was revamped and the Department of Child Safety was created. Since 2019, it's been a revolving door of directors with 5 different leaders at the agency's helm, including the current head of DCS, Catherine Patak, who we have requested to interview multiple times, but there's been no response. Meanwhile, teens in DCS custody are running away every day. By the end of July 2025, 115 kids in DCS custody were considered missing, abducted, or runaways. 66 of those kids ran away from group homes. Zariah Dodd was in that category, only 16 years old and nearly 6 months pregnant, in and out of numerous group homes and kinship care. In the months leading up to her murder, there were clear red flags that she was in danger.
A grisly discovery in West Phoenix. A woman's body is found in a park near 55th Avenue in Osborne.
It took sunrise for a man walking his dog to notice the body of a pregnant teen in the grass at Maryview Park just before 6 a.m. on July 5th. A crime scene ensued as Phoenix police learned 16-year-old Zariah Dodd was killed overnight after a gunshot to the head. Zariah was almost 6 months pregnant, expecting a baby girl.
What I do most days is remember the good times. But to answer your question, I'm pissed because the system failed her.
Zariah's uncle Eric Polk, her aunt Canella Bernard, and grandmother Roselle Spencer reminisce on her childhood at a kitchen table, wondering who she could have been.
Bubbly. Always in the mix and always talking. I mean, if she loved you, she loved you. And you could see it was genuine all the time.
Her family says the state took custody of her when she was 1, as her mother battled addiction and her father was incarcerated. Zariah would remain in the child welfare system despite attempts by her relatives to take her into their care.
They tell us to call them if the kid is in danger. Okay, she in danger from her mama, but y'all done put her in worse danger.
2 men are now charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of Zariah and her unborn child.
Please state your name and date of birth.
Jacree James.
Police say 19-year-old Jacree James Gillette made a full confession, telling detectives that 37-year-old Jarrell Davis ordered him to shoot Zariah or he would kill them both.
Jarrell Davis, 9/26/88.
Court records show a paternity test confirmed Davis was the father of the baby, and a forensic interview with Zariah for a sexual misconduct investigation was supposed to happen a few days after her murder. But police learned that Zariah confided in her DCS caseworker back in April, claiming Davis intimidated her into having sex with him in December 2024 when she was 15. DCS says the caseworker notified police. Court documents reveal she was afraid because Davis was allegedly armed with guns. Her family confused about a 3-month wait for the forensic interview.
If you got somebody coming to you telling you that they're afraid for their life, why are you gonna make it that long?
Zariah was staying at a group home in Surprise, owned by Sunshine Residential. The company has declined to comment further on Zariah as the case is being prosecuted. Police say on the night of July 4th, the group home staff denied the teen's request to see Jacree James Gillette but allowed her to go for a walk around 8 p.m. That's when investigators believe Zariah was picked up by the suspects. 6.5 hours later, the sound of a gunshot was captured on surveillance video near the park where Zariah was found dead. Davis and James Gillette have pled not guilty as both men are in Maricopa County Jail awaiting trial.
She had family that loved her, that could have taken care of her, that she wouldn't still be in the system. I tell you one thing, she'd still be alive if she was with us.
Maricopa County court records reveal Davis impregnated a 14-year-old girl in 2007, but pled guilty to child abuse, receiving probation when he was 19. Since then, he's been prohibited from having guns. Last year, Davis violated an order of protection against him involving a 16-year-old girl located with the minor during a traffic stop in Pinal County, where a gun was also found in his car. He pled guilty to interfering with judicial proceedings, given unsupervised probation, not having to report to a probation officer. Prosecutors in Zariah's case believe Davis was having sex with her since December 2023. It's unknown how Zariah met the man, more than twice her age.
Why wouldn't they keep a more watch on her? If they knowing she's asking to go, you don't think she gonna go as soon as she get a chance, you know?
Phoenix PD says the Sunshine Group home manager told detectives that Zariah made it clear to other girls at the house that she was leaving with her baby's father the night she ran away. Now her family can't escape guilt and grief.
In a million years, this wouldn't have come across our mind that this would be the moment that we will be in, right? So how do you grieve? How do you process this? Like, it's hard.
Her name made countless headlines, and the injustice against her led to a new state law. Coming up, we visit the spot where Emily Pike's remains were found as her loved ones make sure her memory is kept alive. 14-year-old Emily Pike was brutally murdered earlier this year, but long before that, she was allegedly sexually assaulted. The Bureau of Indian Affairs conducted an investigation, but closed the case due to insufficient evidence. Family members believe Emily would still be alive if that case was prosecuted. Walking in darkness along a canal, Emily Pike is identified by a Mesa police officer.
Emily, can you please stop for me so I can talk to you?
It's the night of September 20th, 2023, the second time she's run away from a group home owned by Sacred Journey Incorporated.
Let's talk, okay? It's okay, hey, it's okay, you're not in trouble, okay?
Far from home, 120 miles away from the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation. How did she get here?
No one's helping me.
Well, that's not going to help things either.
No one's gonna f***ing help me.
Those words hit harder, knowing what we know now.
I really don't want to put you in handcuffs, young lady, okay?
I just want to go home.
A month later, Emily would run away again on Halloween 2023, and by January 2025, she would sneak out for the last time. Emily's aunt, Carolyn Bender, remembers finding out when her niece wasn't living on tribal land anymore.
It's very upsetting. It makes me angry. We didn't know about it until I started calling, asking everyone, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister, hey, did you guys know that Emily was in the group home?
Emily was in custody of her tribe and ultimately placed in a Mesa group home licensed by the Department of Child Safety. She reported being sexually assaulted on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. In May 2025, the tribe's chief, Elliot Sneezy, answered to Arizona lawmakers about the strain his officers face covering 1.8 million acres of land where 17,000 tribal members live. Emily's 911 call was transferred to the Game and Fish Department.
To the best of my knowledge, part of the reason why that call was given to the Game and Fish Department to locate her because it was in a rural area, a very desolate area, and Game and Fish is the experts on locating people in those type of areas. Now, do we respond to some of those areas? Yes. However, looking at calls, we were also busy. As I mentioned, we cover a lot of area, and I think at the time we only had about 22 police officers.
No one has been charged in Emily's assault.
Ultimately, the path to her leading to a group home almost seemed like she was punished for being victimized. And I find that absolutely abhorrent.
Even after Emily ran away from Sacred Journey multiple times, DCS indicated the agency had no record of her. Here's Catherine Patak, 2 weeks after being confirmed director of DCS.
When a child is living on tribal land and either eligible for enrollment or enrolled in a tribe, the tribe has exclusive jurisdiction. The state can't come in and tell them what to do with their children.
Jurisdiction is the key term and what leads to disconnect, according to Arizona lawmakers and tribal leaders. When she ran away on January 27, 2025, the group home staff notified her tribe's social services, but did not call the DCS hotline to report her as a runaway. Since then, DCS officials have ordered the group home to use the hotline regardless of the entity that placed the child in the home.
Emily ran away from Sacred Journey by exiting her room's window. The alarm on the window had been disabled.
Weeks later, on February 14th, a gruesome discovery was made. So we're just outside of Globe, headed to the spot where Emily's remains were discovered. We know this is a very wooded and remote area, and we're going to talk to Emily's uncle.
This is a tough place to come because my brother's baby was dumped here like she was a piece of trash, like she didn't matter. And it hurts that somebody hated her, disliked her that much to just do what they did to her.
We're 100 miles away from where Emily was last seen in Mesa. Over several months, 2 memorials have grown here, off the US 60 near milepost 277 outside of Globe.
The body found in the woods northeast of Globe is that of a missing Native American girl.
On Valentine's Day, authorities found Emily's remains dismembered in trash bags.
Mesa police confirming the girl is 14-year-old Emily Pike.
You take her life, but why? Why go as far as taking her body apart? Why do this to her?
Emily's cause of death was homicidal violence with blunt head trauma. The Gila County Sheriff's Office is leading the multi-agency investigation into Emily's murder, and no suspects have been identified. Could her murder have been prevented?
Yes, I feel that her murder could have been prevented, and it all starts down to her assault.
Emily's tragedy sparked Emily's Law, creating Arizona's turquoise alert for missing endangered people and tribal members under 65, activated when someone goes missing under unexplained or suspicious circumstances. Another criteria requires law enforcement to determine the person is not a runaway as the sole reason they went missing. Why does that get a negative connotation?
When they say runaway, the response isn't heightened like the way missing is. Missing, they go all out in searching for this individual. If it's runaway, okay, let's do a police report and maybe we'll go do an attempt to locate.
What Emily's last hours alive were like remain a mystery, much like the identity of her killer. The reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction is $200,000. Have you lost any hope in the investigation?
There are times we do lose hope. That's when people like you come through. We need people to understand that her killers haven't been found.
The tragedy of Anaiah Walker. Coming up, a teen in DCS custody left to die on a freeway median after running away multiple times, believed to be a victim of sex trafficking. Why advocates say kids in state care are easy prey. Anaiah Walker was a routine runaway, and investigators believe she was sex trafficked. The connection is not uncommon, as experts have studied the pipeline between missing kids in DCS custody and trafficking in Arizona. A 4-mile corridor runs through this Phoenix neighborhood from Indian School to Northern Avenue. We've been to what's known as the Blade before, and now we're back. Through previous reporting and interviews with law enforcement, this has been a long-time hotspot for prostitution and sex trafficking. Back in August alone, police say 2 girls, 17 and 15, were trafficked by multiple adults throughout the Blade. It's unknown where the victims came from, but the most recent study done by Mercy Care, a statewide health provider for youth in custody of Arizona, shows that from 2021 to May 2023, more than 60% of child sex trafficking victims were in custody of the Department of Child Safety.
It is not surprising to me that so many kids in DCS care are at risk for exploitation or potentially are victims of exploitation or trafficking.
Stacey Sutherland with the Arizona Anti-Trafficking Network has done outreach herself on these streets and says many girls and women she's spoken with came through the system.
When you are living in a group home, you're probably not going to get some of those safety checks and safety boundaries, so that should be a priority.
She says young girls in care of the state are easy targets for predators.
It's, let me provide something for you. Oh, you haven't been to a nice sit-down restaurant before, I can provide that for you. Oh, you want some Air Jordans? I can provide that for you. You want a new iPhone? You want money? You want a Louis Vuitton bag? You want me to take you to Walmart and fill your refrigerator? I can do that for you. Absolutely.
In the case of Anaiah Walker, law enforcement believe she was sex trafficked while in custody of DCS.
A gruesome discovery along the center lane of I-10 in Buckeye today. Someone called police after finding a body in the middle of the freeway.
May 22, 2020, 16-year-old Anaiah Walker is found dead on the I-10 median. Buckeye police say she was killed in a hit and run. The suspect vehicle believed to be a 2016 to 2018 Honda Civic painted midnight burgundy pearl. Anaiah's father, Adrian, couldn't believe it.
Like a movie where everything's just moving around and you're just in one spot, unaware of what's really going on around you, thinking about why, how, why us? Why my baby girl?
The how and why stem back to behavioral issues Anaiah experienced at 13 years old.
It's hard to pinpoint the where it started, but it really was noticeable but seemed manageable, if you will.
Court records reveal Anaiah became suicidal and violent toward her parents and was ultimately taken into DCS custody. In March 2018, a pattern of running away from her group home continued, which led to Anaiah being placed into a lockdown facility owned by Devereaux Behavioral Health. By December 2019, she ran away again after going on a field trip to a skating rink.
The Department of Arizona Child Safety never notified me. I was notified by her probation officer that she was AWOL. My daughter was never seen alive again. I found dead on May 22nd, 2020.
Anaiah's mother, Sherika Rhymes, telling state lawmakers that she didn't find out her daughter was dead until about 2 weeks later after the hit and run.
I cannot begin to express the disdain I have for the Arizona Department of Child Safety. The disdain is due to lack of communication, failure to follow protocols, and disregard for human life.
Her attorney, Benjamin Taylor, says Devereaux staff never asked Rhymes or Anaiah's DCS caseworker if she could leave for a field trip. Rhymes is suing Devereaux in a wrongful death lawsuit, accusing the facility of negligence. The complaint says DCS briefed Devereaux on an exhaustive file documenting Anaiah's mental health issues and history of being trafficked.
When you're put on notice prior that you have a child who has a tendency to run away, who has been a victim of sex trafficking, Devereaux should have done everything they could to make sure that Anaiah Walker was never let out of their sight.
I reached out to Devereaux for comment on the lawsuit, but I've gotten no response from its attorney.
Different kinds of shirts.
Sutherland continues her fight to prevent girls from ending up like Anaiah, but says it is a community effort to recognize when kids in the care of our state are being trafficked.
We need therapeutic resources. We need more survivor mentors to help kind of guide these victims, especially when they're a part of the collaborative. We need housing, specialized homes, like therapeutic homes.
The why and how leading to Anaiah's death still haunt her father. How do you describe this timeline in your mind?
It was a nightmare. That's how I would describe it, a nightmare.
What changes are coming to the Department of Child Safety? Next, a state senator sounds off, plus an exclusive interview with a former DCS caseworker with insight on major challenges. State lawmakers say change is coming to the child welfare system after a string of deaths involving prior DCS contact. As for the director of the agency, Catherine Patak, we've made multiple requests for an interview and have not heard back. Now we hear from a former DCS caseworker. Discussions on DCS have intensified at the state capitol surrounding the deaths of 16-year-old Zariah Dodd, 14-year-old Emily Pike, and 10-year-old Rebecca Baptiste. In Rebecca's case, DCS received several reports of alleged abuse and neglect by her father and his girlfriend. Both Richard Baptiste and Anaiah Woods are charged with Rebecca's murder, but have pled not guilty, awaiting their trial while in Apache County Jail. Republican State Senator Karen Werner is the co-chair of the Joint Legislative Oversight Committee on the Department of Child Safety and spoke with me in early September following a closed-door meeting with lawmakers, tribal leaders, DCS, and law enforcement to hash out what is wrong with the system. Coming out of this, is it clear that children have been failed by the system?
The system has failed children, absolutely. And when you have kids who are in state care or tribal care, their version of DCS, these kids didn't get there for anything that they did. They were failed by a parent or an adult who abused or neglected or traumatized that child in some way that led them on the path to going into care.
Where are the major gaps in communication with DCS? Because that's who everyone is asking about. What is going on with this agency?
DCS follows rule and law very stringently, and one of the things that I've been having conversations with their leadership is that caseworkers be able to expand and really be able to at least have conversation, ask questions about things that hit their gut, where they're like, I have a feeling here, or I think something is wrong, and go past the check sheet.
Here are some immediate actions to take effect. Clearer rules on how group homes are required to notify DCS and law enforcement once a child runs away. Re-established meetings between tribal nations and DCS, and critical information packets for authorities, essentially a face sheet with a breakdown on a missing child, including kids in tribal custody who have been placed in DCS licensed homes, like Emily Pike, whom the state had no record of when she ran away.
With the tribes now sharing information about a child, it will make it better for them in the way that ensuring that they're getting proper treatment, they have an understanding of the trauma that this child has gone through.
Addressing the issue of child sex trafficking is also top of mind, with more training for group home employees.
One of the things we put into the budget in the 25 session was a appropriation so that DCS group home staff are trained in sex trafficking so that they can see the signs and also have a higher level of awareness of what these children are susceptible to just because of the trauma they've experienced and being in state care.
I've called the hotline probably at least 100 times in my career, and a lot of those calls never got followed up on.
Brooke Shapiro is referring to the 24/7 DCS hotline to report child abuse or neglect. She worked as a DCS caseworker from 2019 to 2022. Between child placements in group homes and foster homes, Shapiro says her caseload was overwhelming. In the state fiscal year of 2025, the average out-of-home caseload per full-time employee was 15. But each case can include several children, Shapiro tells me.
Yeah, at the height, I had 75 kids.
How do you manage that?
Working weekends, working overtime. It got heavy. It's not an easy job by any means. I worked by just scheduling myself as much as possible and trying to keep to that schedule. I knew at the end of the day I would enter my case notes, so I did what I could that day and then enter all the notes so it's all documented.
Why do kids run away?
I think as a teenager, any normal teenager wants to have some control over their life. They want to feel seen and loved and have a space that's their own. So when you're living in a shared room with another minor, that's hard. On top of that, when staff aren't trained or empathetic to a child's trauma, that takes a toll.
She's paid close attention to recent tragedies linked to DCS.
Without a doubt, I think major changes need to happen to the child welfare system, both for the children, for families, for future generations, and for caseworkers, honestly. I think I saw a lot of people that really loved making a difference and ensuring child well-being that ended up leaving because it's like the system breaks you down.
In March 2022, Shapiro was burnt out and quit DCS.
I remember one child, she was young, but I had her the whole time I worked there, and she looked at me and said, "But nobody's gonna fight for me anymore."
What would your advice be to current caseworkers at DCS?
Advocate for change. I think remember, no one gets into DCS casework just as a simple job. You get into it because you care. It's hard. It's hard to be in a role as an advocate, as a person that wants good for children and families, and to have to face systemic barriers.
Thank you for watching our special report. I'm Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum. Good night.